Two Truths and a Lie. So fun, so fun.
Did you like Two Truths and a Lie? I don't know how to be deceitful, so
Let me tell you
I
something.
always mess it up.
My homeschooled self, the first time, I remember the first time that I played Two Truths and a Lie, and I have what I call menu blindness, which is when, like, I know what I'm going to order, but then when the server comes and asks what I would like, I can't tell you anything. I don't even know my own name, and I have to be looking at it. And so Two Truths and a Lie is so fun conceptually, and I'm quite good at, like, reading other people, but when it's my turn, I forget everything, even the truths. And so the first time I played it, I said three things, and I was going through, like, okay, what are some kind of funny truths or like some sort of average lies that might be able to slide under the radar. And all I retained from that thought process were the lies. And so I just told three lies. And then I tried to pass it off like I was being really cool and was like, they're all lies. I was just lying about everything. And someone was like, someone please help this poor seventh grader who doesn't have any social skills.
Wait, you were homeschooled until seventh grade?
From
Or
from third through sixth grade, I was homeschooled with my younger sister, just the two of us at home. It was honestly awesome in many ways, but seventh grade was a rough entry.
seventh grade's rough for all of us, so I can also imagine the added weight of like it's already going to be terrible. Let's add some
Oh.
confetti to it.
It's the Lisa Frank rainbow.
In glittery letters, homeschooled.
My name is Lauren. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the research and communications specialist here at Rally Reader. And if I could be any children's book character, I feel like I have a hefty dash of, let's say, a kind of societally developed Pippi Longstocking. Big fan of Pippi. And we're going to combine Pippi Longstocking with Badger from The Wind in the Willows, who I have a lot of just like deep value similarities to. We both really value cozy. We love creating a safe space for other people. We're not necessarily super stoked about social events, but once we're there, we have a really good time. I would say those are some of my two main children's book character identifiers.
The children's book story or like the children's book character question, I feel like I cheat because the answer will always be the same for me.
Mm.
Um, and it will always be Sophie from the BFG.
Oh, be still my beating heart.
Always. Always.
Perfection. No
Like the
notes.
BFG is the book that made me a reader.
Mm.
Back in the old school library card days, from third grade to sixth grade, because it was an elementary school that went up to sixth, it was the first book I checked out from the library every year and read it every year. Every year.
Oh,
Which makes sense because as an adult, I'm like, I love horror stories and things like that. And while Roald Dahl is filled with whimsy, that's dark. That's like dark for a kid. You got snatched in the middle of the night and put in someone's ear and went to a faraway land where they eat children.
and those illustrations, Quentin Blake was not messing around. Those giants are scary. But listen, I love that. It's beautiful because Sophie, she finds the beauty in the horror. She sees the inside and what truly matters. That makes a lot of sense for you. I think that's beautiful. Um, I had the great privilege of being read to by my mom almost all of the Roald Dahl stories, and I still when I read them, any excerpt, anything, I still hear her voice when I am reading them. And man, could she just she really leaned into it, and she did every one of those funny vocabulary words. You know, the BFG's voice, I mean, everything. And it just, larger than life. And yeah, scary stuff. I mean, I think it was Maurice Sendak, who wrote Where the Wild Things Are, who was quoted as saying, children have ferocious fantasies. And that's such, I think, an interesting and important way of communicating that, like, yeah, scary stuff is supposed to happen in these stories because children's imaginations are running away with them. And how are we going to get to be brave like Sophie if we're not faced with those ferocious fantasies?
I'm so glad that you brought up Where the Wild Things Are. I didn't understand the depth of that book until the movie came out as an adult. And it like rewired my brain in a way that really highlights that, right? Like the power of imagination, the depths in which it will go to make sense of the world around you.
To protect you?
Yes. Yes. Yes, because that film was dark.
So dark. And the book is dark. I mean, it's wild. Just
So dark.
and so incredible. I mean, just the imagination, and that's what I love so much. I think about children's book authors are the way they can tap into that childhood imagination that we all have at the beginning, and so many of us lose as we age. But being able to tap back into that and think about, how would a child maybe feel in this situation, and how can we make those feelings become too big for their bodies and then exist in this imaginary space, in these, terrifying creations that I think he designed after his own relatives that he remembers as a child. So he had these relatives that when he was a little boy, and so the big noses and the kind of yucky teeth and the getting all close and in your face, that was all part of his experience with these kind of larger than life relatives who he found a little uncomfortable.
My favorite thing to say when I was a teacher that I realized was super powerful, because you could just see the kids be completely disarmed. And fourth grade is easy because they're mostly 10, so it's really easy to do the math. So I'd just be like, it's been 15 years since I was your age. Can you explain it to me so I understand better? I have not been a fourth grader in 20 years. And they just kind of look. And it's yeah, do the math, girl. This is how old I am. I know that you think I get it, but it's been a really long time. So can you explain it to me? And they would just kind of oh, buckle up. Buckle up. Let me tell you why it's a big deal that she took my string cheese. I'm going to tell you, because it's the one time a day where I have the autonomy to pick my snack or whatever, right?
Right. Well, and yeah, who knows what history you have with that kid and all of the things, but giving them that opportunity, I think adults sometimes forget to give children the opportunity to explain where they're coming from in a way that is actually open to listening. I mean, everybody's familiar with the what were you thinking question, but an adult really isn't interested in the answer of what the kid was thinking in most cases, because they're frustrated and they're what on earth was going on in your brain? But giving children that space, giving young people that space to explain where they're coming from is so important and so powerful. And I love that you did that for them. And the opportunities to right a couple wrongs. I mean, I have some visceral memories from when I was in middle school, and I had some teachers or social moments where it just wasn't handled well. And as a kid, you're very aware that an injustice has occurred to you, but you don't necessarily have the skills or ability to explain why or express yourself, or, we're so wired to like accept the authority figure. And so even though maybe something wrong has occurred, you don't necessarily know how to advocate for yourself. And so that was something that I found so fulfilling about being a middle school teacher, when there are these very big feelings about like wanting to be a kid, but also really wanting to be taken seriously by adults, and, to kind of dabble in the adult world, but also be able to retreat into the child world. And I loved building opportunities for my middle schoolers to be able to explain themselves, or if I had done something wrong, for them to feel comfortable explaining what they had needed from me, and then being able to apologize and get to model that and share with them, how I maybe would have wished I had done things, and just kind of, I don't know, apologizing is a hard thing to learn, and a hard thing to do well. And so being able to model that, and particularly as the person in a position of power, that's so important.
The apology always goes deep. When you were talking about kind of like the reactive nature of being an adult, my favorite thing also was to apologize when I would slip into the reactive nature of it. Like, fourth graders are smaller bodies, right? And so they're like definitely learning how their bigger bodies are on a playground, and the like threshold for being physically unsafe is definitely there. And I, to your point about like the power of an apology, definitely also remember being the grown-up that's like screaming from across the playground, "Stop! No!" And then walking up and being like, "I am sorry, I was scared." I was scared because you're going to impale yourself.
But getting to have that human moment of like, I used this tone because I was scared. Like, helping the kid put the reaction in the context. I mean, that's huge. I think if more teachers and more parents knew just to be able to do that, it doesn't like flip the power dynamic or anything. It just makes you more accessible to them.
And it's, yeah, that part. And it's very much the modeling of like, I'm never going to be a perfect human. None of us are going to be a perfect human, right?
Exactly.
So like, as an act of care, I didn't want you to hurt yourself. And I can also see the impact of me needing to get your attention in the way that I did, like is a negative impact. You are upset with me. You feel shame, embarrassed, whatever, because I screamed from across the playground to do the thing. And I owe you an apology. I could have not been in my reactive brain, right? I could have walked over. I could have jogged and been like, "Why are you climbing a fence?" Mm-hmm. Is this
do you still ever use your teacher voice? Does it ever come out?
I don't think that it does as much as it did when I was teaching in like in inappropriate contexts. I got a lot of feedback when I was dating that I like would talk to the men like with my teacher voice. I believe one of the times was like, "Don't talk to me like I'm one of your students. I'm not a kid." And I'm like, well, if your comprehension skills were there.
There was maybe a maturity override thing going on.
You didn't act like a fourth grader. I wouldn't talk to you like a fourth grader.
Exactly.
I find the teacher voice comes out sometimes with my niece and my nephews, but it's less about the teachering and more about the like the separation by age, right? Like, it's been this long since I've had your experience. This is where I'm coming from, or like it's wanting to be understood more than anything, and be led into their worlds. So like my nephew, when I pick him up from middle school, I'm like, "I don't want to bother you." Like, I had a teacher voice conversation with him where I was like, "I don't want to bother you, and I don't want to annoy you. And when I ask you about your day, I feel like I'm bothering you. So if you'd rather not talk, just tell me. Like, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I actually just don't want to be annoying."
And you're opening up that door for him to get to have some autonomy. I'm curious, what did he say after that?
He said nothing. He picked up his phone, and then like 2 or 3 minutes later, he offered up something. Like, because he was playing a game on his phone with his friends, and I asked him how he played, and he's like, I don't know. And I was like, you mean to tell me you don't know how to play the game that you're actively participating in this conversation? If you just don't want to tell me, like, tell me.
How many people who interact with middle schoolers will hear that and go, uh-huh, yep, I've been there.
What a rough age. Does your teacher voice still come out?
Sometimes I will notice if I live in a wonderful neighborhood where there is just, it's a safe, quiet area, and there are children in the streets. And I sincerely love that there are children in the streets. They are climbing trees. They are packing their little electric Jeeps full of things and driving over to their neighbor's house. They are in packs on bikes. Like, it's, I love it. And I'm so grateful that these children are here playing together and playing outside. But every once in a while, you see that kid on the fence, or you see the kid dangling from the tree, and you just can't help yourself. And it's like, blah, out it comes, the teacher voice. And then it's like, you don't know me. I'm just some random lady walking my dog. And I have now used this authoritative teacher voice with you. And then the other side of the teacher voice, to your point, is then going up and apologizing for using that tone, explaining the intention. But yeah, every once in a while we'll be like, whoa, that she's still in there. She came out. And yeah, I look forward to the day when like my niece and nephews are old enough when I can like do the kind of teacher engagement explaining. I'm really excited for when they're still, young and developing speech, but when they start really asking questions and being curious about the world, being able to really lean into that and help them chase that curiosity. I can't wait for that. I'm literally living for those times.
It's the best. Because when you teach, right, like there's 25, 30 of them, 18, depending on your class size or whatever. And you get these little nuggets and these little sprinkles from the whole class. But when it's like your niece or your nephew and you're reading a Mo Willems book, the way that you're like, hey kid, I can't keep reading this one line over and over because there are 20 other kids whose attention I lost. Guess what? There's only one kid or maybe two. And you're like, yes, I can read it again. Yes, I can read it in a high pitch. Yes, I can read it in a low voice. What do you think Piggy sounds like? Like, you can stay on that page forever.
Oh, the wonder and joy. It's so, so fun. I love being the fun aunt.
It's the best. And then you give them back. And you're like, all right, they're tired. They're having meltdowns.
Exactly. You know what to do now.
Here you go. Sugared them up for you. Bye.
It is our right as the fun aunt.
Thank you. Thank you. This one's empty.
But that does remind me, circling back to what you were saying about the book that made you a reader. The book that made me a reader, without question, was Redwall by Brian Jacques. Are you familiar with it? It is, it's a novel. And it is all of these anthropomorphized woodland creatures. Speaking of badger from Wind in the Willows. So you've got otters, mice, rats, badgers, all the foxes and weasels and such. Those are like the bad guys. But of course, there are good guys who are also foxes and weasels, and they have to deal with stigma and things like that. And it was a transportable, what am I trying to say? It transported me in a way that nothing else had before. And it resonated with my like 4th, 5th grade self in a way that nothing had. And I remember we were on a road trip because back then in my youth, I could read in the car and not feel like dying.
Can't do it anymore.
Can't do it anymore. But I remember finishing it in the car on a road trip, and I closed the cover and I just started to cry. And my parents were like, "Are you okay? Was it a sad book?" And I didn't have the words to explain that I loved reading it so much. And I am sad that it's over, but I'm also really glad that I know how it ends. And it just took me on a journey and it changed everything for me. And I mean, oh, my talk about imagination override, like it was my gateway into a lifetime love of reading. And you know, they also really know how to eat. So there's something in there with like the cozy and the cooking and I don't know, lots of outside time. Like spectacular book.
I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I often think about that moment that you're talking about when you close the book and the story is over. Like where I don't think it's the end for the characters. It's just where we don't know anything else. And it's like, where do you go? Like, did you grow up? Did you, whatever, is your habitat okay? Like,
Parting ways when you've gone on this journey together. Ugh, yeah, it was just such an emotional, visceral experience as a kid. And I remember crying and saying, "No, I'm crying because I liked it so much." It was beautiful.
I love it. And you're absolutely right. We were absolutely different kids growing up. Because you were talking about reading in the car as like a fifth grade self and all of that. I have vivid memories of, because we used to visit my grandma on weekends on Saturdays, and it was about an hour drive. And in fifth grade, my uncle would get a bunch of books and just like bring books over, and they were like either thrift store books or whatever, and they would just come in I would, not boatloads, but it felt like a boatload as a kid. And we never really figured out, or my parents never really cared to be like, this is a grown-up book, this is not a grown-up book. My dad was a voracious reader, so like whatever he was reading, I'd ask questions and he'd be like, yeah, you want to read it? Cool, whatever. Like, did not treat us like kids in that kind of regard. And so as you were painting the like road trip, sitting and reading, I got the like childhood memory of like laying down, because we had minivans, but we were only two, so my brother and I each got kind of our row, like laying down. You're gonna lose your mind when I paint this scene for you. And reading a yellow covered copy that was just old book smelling.
Oh,
Of Stephen King's The Shining.
in fifth grade, Aracely is like, "What am I reading?"
And so I had the opposite experience. That is the first book I ever quit. I got
Ooh.
to part 2 when the nightmares started. And I was like, "Nerp, nerp. I don't even know what I'm dreaming about because I am a child, but
I
nerp."
can't understand this, but no.
No.
That is
No.
amazing. The Shining. You went hard.
And to this day, Stephen King is one of my favorite storytellers. Like I just think he's brilliant. I love that he creates these worlds. I love how his stories translate to film in such a beautiful way. I love following him on Threads because he will talk to everybody and is just so ordinary. And I am surprised that I don't resent that man for giving me my first nightmares from a book. No.
You should tell him. You should talk to him on Threads and tell him. Oh, that's amazing. My first book that I quit, this is such a fun question. I think the first book that I quit, and maybe I didn't even, I think it was for school, so I don't think I could quit it in my, like, people pleaser, like, of course, if the teacher assigns it, you have to finish it. But I remember the first book that I wanted to quit was The Great Gatsby. And in fact, it caused such a reaction that I threw the book. And that was the first time that had ever happened. I was just like, get this thing away from me. And yeah, it was like early high school, and I loathed it. I loathed the characters. And what later I realized was that, for me, I have to be on somebody's side when I'm reading a book. I need to, even if they are the antagonist, right? I take me on a journey, let me walk beside you, but let me be on your side. And The Great Gatsby was just so full of people drifting through life, which is such the point of the story. But in my like high school age, like still learning about my identity as a reader self, I was so frustrated with everyone. I was just like, you are wasting your lives. And I was like, I need a break from this. I probably did finish it though, because I had to, because that was the sort of student I was. But
Do you
never read it
still
again.
feel do you still feel like you have to root for someone, whether protagonist or antagonist? Like, do you have to root for someone in the art that you consume, whether it's a book or a movie or a series? Or does it
I do.
depend?
I do generally feel like I have to root for someone. I'm in a book club now, and it's really fun because it's an all women book club, and they are all in all these different walks of life. So we have maybe like a 15-year age span between us all, and it exposes me to so many books that I wouldn't ordinarily pick up for myself, which is part of the beauty of a book club. And I do find that there is somebody I have to rally around. Like again, it doesn't matter who it is. It can be the protagonist, it can be the antagonist. There was one book we read not long ago where the main character thread was actually like a place, like a plot of land. And it's like, okay, I am on the side of this apple tree in this story. But I have to be on somebody's side. And otherwise, it won't carry me with it. And I lose interest.
I guess like when I get a lot of joy from stretching my brain. So when I read something where I feel duped at the end of it, or I feel like the joke's on me, or I'm like, nothing happened to this person. I find, this sounds terrible. I find joy in the conversation. To me, reading is such a social thing. To me, and my like foundational belief of who I am as a person, who I was as an educator, who I hope I will always be, is that meaning is created through social environments. Whether you're like teaching back to someone, whether you're teasing through your understanding of your childhood or to understand somebody else more deeply, like the way we learn cannot happen in isolation. And so these stories or these movies or these whatever it is with these incredibly terrible protagonists, incredibly terrible, everybody sucks, fuels my ability to socialize and create social meaning around it. Why does everybody suck? Like I have a book club, it's very tiny, but we read a book that the plot was salacious. Everything about it was like, why are we reading this? And we finished it, and the best part about it was all of us kind of one sitting through the whole plot and being like, and then like two being like, what does it say about this author? And then three, what does it say about us that we sat in it the whole time?
But the more I get to know you, and the more I understand how, and I just really admire the way your brain works and the way you lean into understanding the mechanics of a situation and sort of the what is going on the deeper level here socially. that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense because I feel like there's most of the world and like the way we engage with ourselves and each other in the world, and then there's like how Aracely is engaging with the world, and it's making a lot more sense about like contextualizing some of the just like challenging or disappointing behaviors encountered in literature, because you're looking for the meaning. You're looking for like, what does this say about all of us? And that's very powerful and very like you.
For this, like, hey, show off your personality. Great, we're gonna nerd out. I don't think you know that we're not that cool.
Special guest, a lawyer to explain the things.